Hi, everybody. This is your host, Hollis Thomases. Welcome to Reinvention Conversations from the Front Porch. This is episode 32, and my guest this evening is Ellyn Hutton. You're going to hear more about her fascinating journey in a moment, from ordinary nurse to practitioner of mind-body medicine and what that entailed for her. So let's get started. I'm going to stop my screen share and let you see Ellyn for a second here. Ellyn, why don't you say hello for about 10 seconds so everybody can see you?
Hi, everybody. Hi, Alice.
There she is in her glory. And of course, Reinvention Conversations from the Front Porch is meant to be casual conversation between two people who have reinvented, me and you, the guest. Mm-hmm. And we usually do it with some sort of beverage. I believe that you're drinking something special tonight. I'm just drinking ordinary water because I normally drink wine, but I haven't been able to eat my dinner. And I want to be cogent when I interview you.
I think you're drinking water in my honor, right?
Yes, exactly.
I can't drink wine. I'm drinking from my Vita Drool bottle. This is gem water, and it actually changes water to make it more alkaline, and it really tastes better. So, and I think it's just beautiful. It has beautiful amethyst stones in it. There's a lot of different varieties, but this is one of my favorites.
Oh, amethyst is my favorite stone.
I'm a wholesaler for them, if anybody's
interested. There you go. Is that like, is it an open top or is it a nozzle top?
It opens up, yeah.
Okay, kind of like a thermos.
Yes, like a thermos. Oh, cool. And then these come out, so you can change these out to different gems.
Oh, so
they have emeralds, they have
fancy.
So many. They have diamonds. So
wow.
Yeah. So it's based on Dr. Emoto's work. He did a lot of work with testing water and energy around water. So
fantastic.
And it makes me drink more water too, which is important.
I find when I'm sitting in front of the computer, I'm thirsty anyway. So that's I'm parched and I want to be drinking. I want to tell everybody who's watching about Reinvention Works and this webcast series. Reinvention Works is an online destination that I founded that is designed to help people with information, tools, networking, and education, just like these kinds of conversations, for people who are thinking about or going through the process of deliberate intentional change, reinvention. And that's something that you know kind of well. So we're going to talk about you. First off, what we're going to have you do is I'm going to turn the floor over to you for about 5 minutes. I'll actually time you to tell everybody about the story of your reinvention journey and how you went from what you were to what you are today. And then we'll launch into an interview. At the top of the hour, I will open the floor for Q&A if there are any. Otherwise, we'll call it a wrap and then we will be done. So let's first have you take the floor and tell us about your journey.
Okay, great. First of all, I appreciate this opportunity. I really thought about this question a lot when I started reinventing myself. And I think it was after I was in a car accident when I was 11. I had a traumatic brain injury. And after that, my life really changed. I had trouble talking, just trouble organizing my thoughts. And there was some conversation that I might not graduate from high school or college. So I think from that day forward, I really changed my life and struggled with finding where I should be. And eventually, though, I did graduate from high school. I actually got a partial scholarship to college and then graduated from college, became a nurse, loved nursing, worked in many aspects of nursing from med-surg to the ER to I became a case manager for an insurance company. I worked in an HMO, started their OB department, their urgent care department. But then eventually, so I did that for about 19 years, all those different jobs. And then eventually I just felt like I wasn't fulfilled. I felt like I was being drained. I really thought, this sounds really dramatic, but I thought I might die young because I just felt like I was working and wasn't feeling a passion about my work eventually. So I just decided to enroll in massage school. I know one of your questions is, was that your passion, this or that? It wasn't my passion. I never really even got a massage. My family didn't massage each other. Like, it wasn't like it was in my blood, but I just thought it was really interesting. And when I called for massage school, they had already started their semester and they weren't sure they were going to accept me. And I knew if I didn't get in at that point, I wouldn't have started. And so because of my nursing background, they accepted me in the program, and then my life actually took off in another direction. I ended up loving massage. I ended up also being called by a woman from New York who heard about me. She had just gotten off the phone with Madonna, believe it or not. And she had heard about my work working with pregnant women with the HMO that I worked for, and she asked me to train under her. So at the same time I was doing the massage therapy, I was training with her in New York to work with pregnant women. So subsequently, I ended up starting a new business with bodywork massage and working with pregnant women through massage and exercise. So that was my first launch into reinventing myself. And that business started 19 years ago. In the meantime, I ended up going back to school for mind-body medicine. I ended up training with Mahan Rishi and Yarli for yoga. Ended up going to India with him. Just expanded my horizons in directions I never even thought of. And it's basically because I just took the leap of going to massage school. I'm not sure how much time I have left, but my leap to leave my job at my final job with the insurance company as a case manager was a big leap. I thought I was secure in leaving the job, and that I got another job doing legal consulting work for lawyers. I actually transcribed medical charts for lawyers, and I thought that would give me money so that my business would have time to develop. Well, that job fell through after about 2 months, and I was making about $50 a week doing massage therapy. Wow. So from that point, I think I mentioned to you, I decided to sell my car and sell my jewelry. Unfortunately, I was going through a divorce at the time too, so I decided to sell my engagement ring, and that's actually how I launched my business. I put that money in the bank, and all of a sudden, my business took off from there.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So just to confirm, because it's weird, it seems like a weird coincidence. You did your career for 19 years, and then you founded your business 19 years ago, or you? So this parallel of 19s.
19, yes, yeah. And just looking now to figure out what I'm going to do now. I feel that when you own your own business, and you probably know this, Hollis, is you're reinventing yourself all the time for many reasons, to keep the business going, but also to keep your own interest going. So I find that there's always something going on, always something I'm learning. I'm actually now doing meditation for a cancer website. I'm involved in a study at University of Penn doing a meditation for doctors before they go into surgery. So it's really, I don't know how I got so lucky, because it's not that I planned it out. It just, once I think I put my toe in the water, maybe this sounds bizarre, but the universe opened up and I came in contact with people that just helped me make my life more exciting. However, my love, I guess my major love is body work, is through massage and yoga. I feel that it's a gift for me. There's such a connection with people when you're able to touch their bodies and help them feel better. So I still feel like that is something that still moves me, and even after 19 years, helps me feel good about what I do.
Right. Well, in a way, since you started out as a nurse where you were touching people's bodies and helping them heal, or helping them through pain, in a way that seems part of your mission here on this.
Well, it's interesting. To be a nurse in Delaware, you have to continue in nursing to keep your license. And when I became a massage therapist, myself and 3 other nurses went before the Board of Nursing, and we actually got massage approved as nursing, so I could keep my nursing license by doing massage. So it actually is still nursing. literally it's still nursing because they consider it nursing, and I can get my nursing license by doing it. I feel like it's even more nursing, and I did a lot of I had a lot of amazing nursing experiences, especially with the emergency room and OB. But we didn't really touch bodies like you do in massage, when you can really help someone relax, help someone feel good, help listen to someone for an hour or an hour and a half. Provide so many ways to help someone calm down, which I think, this may sound funny, but I feel like if people got massaged every day, there'd be peace on earth. Because
oh my God, yeah, if I got a massage every day, I'd be the happiest clam.
Yeah. Just to bring that, crazy level down. So
I do want to kind of go back to the whole idea of, how you chose massage because it wasn't your passion and you didn't get massages and, so why massage?
I don't know. I just thought it looked interesting. And when my last job, all my prior nursing jobs, I was working one-on-one with patients. My last job, I was on the telephone for hours on end, setting up patient care. And I guess something just told me to connect. Massage would help me connect again with someone on one-on-one basis. It was interesting though, because I didn't have a background. When I get nervous, my hands get cold. When I get really nervous, my hands sweat, and I go, "Oh, this is great as a massage therapist." So it helped me, get through that eventually, but it was difficult at first. I thought it was a crazy move for me, actually. It wasn't like I had these hot hands that
right.
And they eventually get really, now my clients would attest to it, they can get really hot, but it's just interesting that I did that. And I actually feel, I mentioned earlier that I had a brain injury. I feel that it helped me recover from that more too. I actually lost my sense of smell when I was 11. And just about 5 years ago, I got it back.
Wow.
And maybe not necessarily through massage, but the yoga that I teach Kundalini. One of the styles I teach is Kundalini yoga. We do a lot of meditation for the brain. And just about 5 years ago, I noticed I got my sense of smell back, which is pretty amazing, because my accident was in 1969. And somehow, I don't know, I think the universe is just helping me heal myself so I can really help.
Right.
And that sounds really like I'm running for Miss America or something, but just it's helping me find ways to help the body, help the brain, just because of my issues. And I love sharing that with people.
So since massage wasn't necessarily a passion or even a calling, you didn't know much about it. Mm-hmm. It was more a pursuit of curiosity, it sounds like. Mm-hmm. But you were like all in. And the other thing I hear from you is that you continue this education and development, this personal development, and sort of pushing the boundaries. You started doing massage training to be a massage therapist back. You shared this with me earlier that back then it was in the phone book under adult entertainment.
Yes. And if my mom listens to this, she'll attest to this. And she was embarrassed. She was really embarrassed because
and also, even if it was legitimate, then all of a sudden you started going off to India with a guru, and these things were not necessarily as accepted in sort of the U.S. and Western civilization as they are now. Now you say the word "I meditate every day," and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, so do I. So do I. I do yoga." And it's very commonly adopted, but back then it wasn't. So, how did you ever, besides being drawn to the trade and liking what you were doing, like, did you ever have questions of yourself and how you were going to make a business and a living out of something that was so early stage for
all the time? Yes. In fact, the first year I actually ended up working 7 jobs because I I didn't know what I was going to do. I really didn't. Luckily I was a nurse, so I was able to work private duty nursing. I worked for a home care company, um, and I don't know, but somehow I just ended up. Interesting. I really do believe that, and I know this to be true to this day, that emotionally we can block things from flowing towards us. And when I was really struggling monetarily, I didn't have any clients calling me. And as soon as I got money in the bank, when I sold my car and sold my ring, I started getting clients. And so there was something that in me, I think, that let go to allow that energy to, just move forward. Kind of a funny thing, when I was in that first year struggling, I didn't really have much money. It's going to sound so pathetic, but a friend of mine called me to go to the inaugural ball, and I felt like Cinderella. I really did. I had one dress in the closet that was appropriate. I had really no money. I didn't want to tell anybody. And so I got to go to the inaugural ball.
Wow.
I know. I think it was when Clinton was nominated or for president.
Yes. Yeah. Wow. That's really cool. So, do you come from a family of entrepreneurs?
Not really. I don't think. One of your questions too is if I was a risk taker. If that was like, I don't. I never consider myself a risk taker. But I think when I look back, I am a risk taker, or I'm just. I don't know. Sometimes it's just dumb luck, if that makes any sense.
Well, the other thing I think of is some of the people that I've interviewed have had near-death experiences, either with a severe illness, or there was a fellow, I didn't interview him, but one of my co-hosts did, and he was shot in Iraq, and they gave him last rites on the plane to the medical center. And he said after that, sitting in traffic on the freeway is like nothing. So maybe also the fact that you had this really horrible car accident that left your brain injured, maybe that's also reframed your context, even if you're not conscious of it.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. It's food for thought, but yeah,
Well, having gone through, such a transformation, and now really being, a facilitator and a healer for other people, do you think that everybody can reinvent the way you have, to recognize where they're not happy and possibly dying, inside, and to transform?
Yeah, I think it's a really difficult question to answer for someone else. I really believe if I can do it, anybody can do it. Because I didn't mention, I also have, and I hate to even say this, but I have chronic pain. So I have headaches almost all the time. So I just feel like if I can make it through, anybody can make it through. But I didn't really have any obligations either. I didn't have children to raise. And so people have other things to think about. So if someone does have the opportunity to move through something else, I think anybody can do it. But the other thing I wanted to mention is I think there's also an opportunity to change your viewpoint of your own job. So if you feel like unfulfilled in your job, maybe looking at another way to do your job, or find an activity outside the job that fuels your soul. And then if that ends up becoming larger, then you can move forward. But maybe finding other ways that don't have to be as drastic as just leaping to another career.
Yep.
So that's what I would recommend.
We had a session on that in the January conference.
Oh, okay.
Called The Quit Alternative.
Okay.
The fellow who gave it, he's written a book about that very thing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
He says stop doing soul sucking work and find something about, either in your company or about what you like to do that's soul satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
positive affirmation of that. So let's talk about the early days when you took this crazy leap, and I want to ask you about leaping as well. But what about fear? What about how you got through even the idea that you had no money and you work in 7 jobs and you were selling off your major assets. You know,
I know.
did you think you were insane?
I did. I
Okay.
really did. Yeah, I did. And I actually always had self-doubt about myself. I think that, being told that I might not graduate from high school or college just seeded some inferiority complex anyway. So this journey was just especially tough, I thought. It kept me up at night. I think the only thing that really, not the only thing, but the thing that saved me is I was able to network with some people at the very beginning. I networked with people that were starting their own companies, and also just people at a coffee shop, that I had a place to go and not be by myself. Working, as you probably know, working in your own job can be very lonely. You're on your own. You have to self-motivate. So, but yes, those first years were very, very scary. But then I should mention also, before I left my job at the insurance company, I read this book called Ink Your Dreams. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book.
No, that one I haven't heard of.
But that really helped me too. Before I took that quote unquote leap, at the back of this book, from my memory, I can't remember the exact questions, but there was a questionnaire that you asked your colleagues and friends to fill out. And I sent that around at work. And the questions were, what do you see as my strengths? What do you see as my weaknesses? What other type of job could you see me doing? So those are the typical questions. And I remember getting back that they thought I was really good with people, that I'd be a good teacher, but I had very low self-esteem. So, that's what those were the responses, and I thought they were right on. Maybe not. I don't know if I was a good teacher, but I thought, wow, that's really interesting. But that was a really nice way to kind of gauge how other people see me and maybe see my potential, and that really helped. Besides the self-esteem thing, it helped me kind of think about, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can move forward.
Wow. I mean, you took that and despite the fact that everybody said you have low self-esteem, you said, maybe I can do this, which is, not.
I know I did. So, yeah, I mean, it seems quirky, doesn't it? It seems crazy that I ever made it at all. It really does. I mean, I have a very loving family, which of course was helpful, but they were more afraid than I was, I think, too. My mother, it wasn't like they weren't supportive, but they thought it was a bit crazy.
Yeah, I think that one of the things we also talked about this during a different session in my January conference, but people have a way of projecting their own fears on you during your reinvention, like all those what ifs. Or they don't think that they can do it themselves, so they can't imagine somebody else doing it, or doing it the way that you're doing it, especially if it's so out of your wheelhouse, let's say, or so different. And you kind of you did a lot of things all at once that are very different. You went from you didn't go from an employee doing one thing to an employee of someplace else doing something different. You went from being an employee to being an entrepreneur, and you went from doing something that you knew well, and then you had to learn a whole new skill set. So it is kind of crazy. That's why to me it's fascinating now to talk about those leaps before we run out of time. There's different instructors that I've had on the program have talked about everything from taking baby steps to taking major leaps. Don't just think about everything as little baby steps or hops. Think about leaps. And how do you what's your take on that?
I think baby steps is good, even though I didn't take baby steps. But like I said, I did fall back on my nursing through that first year. So I felt like even though the legal consulting thing didn't work out, I did have at least something to fall back on. So it wasn't a total leap. But yeah, I think, and also just to know for anybody that's thinking about it, you might have everything planned out and it may fall apart. And just trust, that you can survive. Even now, I mean, my business goes from being really busy to not busy, and just knowing that you can survive. And it pushes me actually to like doing the meditation work. I'm doing that now, and I probably should mention that I wrote a book too. So this is I published a book, and that was something.
Hold that up so everybody
that I've never done before. I published
The Color of Birth.
The Colors of Birth.
Oh, Colors of Birth.
When I, work so much with pregnant women, I just was inspired to do this. And this was another leap of faith, actually. But this was actually just something from my heart. It was easy to put together. I didn't write it. I just published it. I gathered stories. I had a great editor that I worked with. And I dedicated it to my mom. But the weird thing about my working with pregnant women, I've never had children myself, and that was always quizzical too. Like, why am I working with pregnant women? And I wrote about this in my book. I was hypnotized, and I'll just cut this short, but I was hypnotized once by a guy that ended up eventually being my neighbor. And I had a headache that wouldn't go away. I had a headache for days and days. And so anyway, he said, trace that pain. Where's that pain coming from? And I ended up in the womb. I ended up hearing my mother crying. I ended up like feeling the amniotic fluid. It was so clear and so vivid. And my mother had said that she, it was her third pregnancy in 3 years. She was tired. She cried a lot during a pregnancy. And but anyway, he said to me, the psychologist said to me, wow, that's amazing that you're helping pregnant women have better births. And so that years later, after I did this, I thought, well, maybe that's why I'm working with pregnant women, and somehow got these calls from someone who just talked to Madonna. So
it's almost like
interesting other segue, to another love that I have. I love working with pregnant women.
I almost feel like the message that I'm getting from you that's different than I think anybody else that I've interviewed is a lot of people plan the leap,
mm-hmm.
and you leapt, and then it created a plan. And so it was almost like that whole leap of faith thing
mm-hmm.
really bore itself out to you, no pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems to have all interconnected, and I really wouldn't say one way or another that it happened for a reason, but everything does seem to be for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like talk about, I say, reinvention is an opportunity to create your next future and your own destiny, control your own destiny. And it's almost like you didn't control your destiny, but it was your destiny anyway.
Right.
You controlled the leaving, and you controlled the this whole seeking,
right?
And it's like all kind of come together. It's like a really interesting.
And then educated myself around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as the trade. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's time to open the floor for audience Q&A. And so I want to give people time to type in, because it takes a little bit of time to ask questions. So while I tell everybody in the audience, if you have any questions, please type them in, and then I'll read them to Ellyn. One of the things I'll ask from you, and you can answer in the interim, is what's been the most rewarding part about all of this reinvention of yours?
The most rewarding part is I can say that I feel almost better when I'm at work than doing anything else.
Wow.
And that to me is a gift. I mean, I'm like, thank you, God, like however lucky I got doing what I'm doing. So yeah.
And what's
a wonderful gift.
What's been the most challenging part?
Actually, being able to sell myself and actually charge people, those things still are difficult, and were difficult at the very beginning. Mind-body medicine, I just went back to school for that. A lot of these things aren't offered yet, and people still feel like they're not worth paying. So those things are really challenging for someone
that's such a great challenge to put out there. Nobody's said that before, but it's a real problem. It's a real challenge for people who are their own product. And being your own product and having to sell yourself and and say, hey, I'm worth this, that goes contrary to the low self-esteem too. So you had to overcome something that everybody else around you said, you're not super great at it. So it wasn't like you to begin with.
Right.
And I think it's really important for anybody who's thinking about the whole entrepreneurial route, because if you're going into a service profession and you are the product, think about it.
Right.
All right. So I don't see any questions, so I've got a couple more.
Okay.
So what about, did you use any, you mentioned the book, but you read that kind of before you figured out what you were going to do. During the process, were there any kind of tools or technologies, or you mentioned the woman that you ended up training with who contacted you, but like, are there any resources that you found helpful, and what were they?
The networking group that I joined, that really helped. And then for the book, I actually used a mentor from SCORE to help me figure out the pricing for that. And so kind of reached out. Now I feel that, and I wish this is what I would recommend to anybody starting, is to align themselves with someone, first of all, that is successful, that emulates the traits that you want to emulate. And then these people become your support, and they become your referral source too. So if I had it to do over, I would have done that earlier on. And I think that if I had to do over, I would have hopefully been more confident in my abilities. But this is part of the journey, and it's part of what I teach too, to letting go of the ego, and just hoping that you're doing something that will help people. So.
And so do you now mentor anybody yourself?
I do, actually. I actually mentored 2 little girls at a local school. And then I've hired, this is the other thing that really helps me. I'm sorry I didn't mention it. I have marketing people that I wish I had way back. They're mostly from the University of Delaware. I get students that help me market. And now I have, the last 2 years, a girl that is a graduate, and she has been all of them are wonderful, but she has been especially such a great help. So I feel that, I don't know if they'd say I mentor them, but I feel like I try to help them move forward too, because my goal is to help them find their passion, and that this is just like their job towards that. Help them towards that.
Did you go through the school's career center?
I did. Okay. Yeah. Great. It's one of the greatest things. And my friend, she might even be listening. She's the one that recommended it. Bernadette. So she, that was really great, because marketing is key when you have your own business, and you don't have money at the beginning to spend on marketing. So and then local magazines were really wonderful. Writing for local magazines is a wonderful way to get your name out there.
Yep.
I've been in the newspaper a lot, things like that. So it's been really helpful.
Good. Great. Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you think would be relevant to help other people pursue their own crazy dream?
I think that coming from someone with hopefully better self-esteem now, but to not listen to the naysayers. If something really, really gets your attention and makes you feel whole, then go for it. And I think, and I think there's always a place to fall back on, and just really surround yourself with people that believe in you and will support you.
Wonderful. So when you say, always have something to fall back on, is that like a plan B?
Like a plan B, yeah, yeah. And we might not even know what that plan B is, but I think that when at my lowest point is when I was pushed to survive,
Yeah.
to survive.
But you could have quit. I think it's really important to say you could have quit. And you mentioned when you were selling your jewelry, that you were going through a divorce, and so if you could have, in addition to starting the business, and feeling lonely in a reinvention and starting a business, you could have felt, flat out lonely. So there was a whole lot. To me, there was a whole lot of reason, and probably it was more easy to quit. That would be the path of least resistance.
Yeah, I just felt like I didn't want to depend on anybody to pay my mortgage, so so I really couldn't quit.
Well, you could have gone back to the same old, same old. You could have just done,
go back to work. Yeah, I guess I could have.
And that's how you should think about this. Well, I think whatever you're doing completely suits you because you look fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
Fabulous. So, you do those numbers with the dates. You can do the math. So you're clearly.
Yeah, I'm really lucky. What I do keeps me healthy. I mean,
it keeps you healthy.
I'm going to be like such a promoter for it.
And despite all this other physical stuff, if you're dealing with chronic pain and headaches every day, that alone could really.
Yeah. And I still have hope that will go away. I really do. Okay. But that's why I bring it up, because I think that some people may say I can't do it because whatever, and I think it's possible if you really want it, and it could be your path to healing. I do believe, like way back when I was in that accident, full circle here, my path was led to nursing, and then to massage, and then to yoga, and then to mind body skills. Sounds very egocentric, but to heal myself and then teach others that too. So
But a lot of folks will say that you have things in you when you're young. And what happens is we age and we abandon those things. Plus somebody told us it wasn't the right thing to do, or that it's not practical, or other things divert you. There's a lot of people. I think that the statistic is something like 70 some odd % of people in jobs, it's not what they thought that they would ever do. Just like that was a job that they got out of college, and then it led them on a career path, and they stayed on that path. But it wasn't really ever anything they meant to do. So if they get to a place where they're really dissatisfied or stressed or whatever, that's the time that it's like, maybe then I want to reinvent. Hey, we have a belated question.
Oh my goodness.
Do your headaches go away when you give massage or take yoga? Are you relaxed receiving the touch of a massage as well as giving?
Sometimes my headaches go away with massage and yoga. Not all the time, but sometimes. And I definitely am relaxed. When I receive a massage, was that the other part of it? Yeah, I'm definitely relaxed, and I don't critique people. I know some people think that I'm like critiquing the whole time when I'm, receiving a massage, but I really feel it when I don't get a massage routinely. Actually, I'm lacking right now. I do it's not just because I do it, but I think it's just valuable for all of us to really get massages routinely, get rid of those kinks, and just let your body calm down.
Oh yeah.
Body, mind, soul.
Advocate. That's like, to me, I'm not a shopaholic, so I don't go out and buy things. I give myself a massage,
It's the greatest gift. It is. And as I said, as one that does it, like I get just as much out of it doing it. I'm just so lucky. I want to show you one more thing. I also, this was way back, this is going backwards, but I also created this Angel of Pregnancy pin. And I met a guy in Philadelphia who did the Tin Angel for the Tin Angel bar. I don't know if you know that. And he sat next to me at the bar. And this is way, way back, 1996. when I was just thinking of changing my job. Anyway, I looked him up before I did this interview because I just thought, oh, I haven't thought about him in a while, and he created this, helped create it with me. And so he passed away a few years ago, and he was apparently did so much more art, and he was really very, very talented. So I wanted to thank John Overmeyer for this, for this angel pregnancy pin.
You've really done a lot. I mean, it's very impressive because, like you said, that as a business owner, you're constantly evolving, and that is true. But you know, you're like a machine. You're a creative machine.
I feel like I'm trying to heal my brain. I really do think it can be obsessive at times. I really have to stop it. But I really wanted to breathe. And when I was injured, they didn't think the brain healed. Like I know that's why I do it, just to keep my brain healthy. So
yeah. Well, I just I'll read off this other comment about the whole massage, and it says, "I am sold. I must make an appointment for one." So that would be a great note for us to go back to my SlideShare so they can find out how to contact you. So I'm going to do that right now.
Thank you, Hollis.
Oh, absolutely. Well, here we go. So, Ellyn, here's how you can get a hold of Ellyn. First of all, thank you so much for being my guest. This was so much fun. I told you it would go fast. There's so many. Sad about it. I hope we get to do that again, maybe offline. So if you want to get a hold of Ellyn, you go to her website, wellnesswithinbe.com. You can also reach her by email, Ellyn at H, and pay attention, that's a Y and not an E, at rcn.com. And she's generously let us give out her phone number, 302-383-5500, if you want an appointment. So next week, our guest is Jorge Borba. Boy, does that man have a fascinating story. He's like a multi-time reinventionist entrepreneur, but he's been up, down, 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 up, So although the idea of being an entrepreneur doing more than one thing might seem not like a reinvention, I'll tell you what he's done is very, very different. So really fascinating. I can't wait to talk to him. If you want to contact us, we are on Twitter at Reinvention Work. That's singular. Our hashtag is Reinvention Works with a hashtag in front of it. And for all the upcoming webcasts, you can always visit our website. You can go to reinventionworks.com/events to find out the new upcoming ones, or you can go to webcasts to see the old ones. And right now our scheduled time is 8:30, but I'm in the process of surveying my audience to see if 8:30 is the best time. So we may mix up not just this when this occurs, but some of the other programming. So you can always log on, or I hope you're on our email list, which will give you all that information. So register, tell your friends. We are so excited when we do this. It's a lot of fun. And Ellyn, I really want to thank you again. You're fantastic.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Hollis.
Yay. So everybody have a wonderful rest of the week, and I hope to see you next week. Bye now.